Hi, my name is Quanasia, and welcome to my book corner where I talk to you about books or series that I recently read. Today's series is called Prime, The Banks Empire by India Ray, and this is the third and last book. Okay, if you have not read book 1 or 2, I would advise you to go read it because it's the same characters, and this third book starts off where the second book ended. Okay, same characters and everything. All right, so let's get into it. Zainab is in jail. Okay, if you remember in the second book at the ending, she had a book opening. She had a bakery, her bakery open called Sweet Zen that she was going to open with her sister. And while she was in the whole grand opening situation, cops came and arrested her, right? Now, she already had an inkling who the fuck called the cops. I also knew who called the cops, but we gonna get into it, okay? Boom. So now she's in prison, right? She's in prison, and she's 8 months pregnant, okay? The third book, not even prison, she's in jail. So the third book begins with her being in jail, and she's like panicking because she ain't ever been in there before, and she knows she didn't murder her sister. Now, why is she going to jail again? She's going to jail because of identity theft and the murder of her sister, even though she wasn't the one to do it. Okay. So boom. In the jail, right, there was another, her cellmate basically told her, there's this bitch called Big Mona, you need to stay clear of her because she will give you a hard time, right? So she's like, I bet. So after Miss Girl gets off the phone with her man, Big Mona finds her and tells her, hey, I want $10,000 in my account in 48 hours. She's like, I bet. You gonna be a problem, let me call my man. She calls her man, basically tells him what happened, promise, like, I bet she gonna be handled. The next morning, there's hooping and hollering going on. So she's running to the cell. It was Big Mona's cell. Big Mona sliced and diced. Big Mona ain't a problem. Okay, Big Mona was handled, right? So she's happy. She goes back to her cell with her cellmate, like, thank God, right? Now, the COs, for some reason, always get handsy with the women. I don't understand why. But that's neither here nor there, right? So she's being told she's getting extradited to California. By the way, she does have a lawyer. The lawyer is actually Prime's older brother, Quest's girlfriend, one of them, right? Right. I forgot the girlfriend name. I think her name was Celeste or some shit. Anyway, she gets extradited to California. Prime and Yusuf goes to California. Yusuf still has not talked, okay? The boy has been through some ish, all right? So now she's in Cali. Her new cellmate name is Lala. She's actually very sweet, and Lala is looking out for her, making sure she's okay. The COs are being dickheads, okay? She is like going through it. She's calling, her sister is calling her, they're talking, she's meeting up with Celeste, I'm gonna say that's her name, but I don't remember. Celeste is her lawyer, and basically she gets bonded out because she's pregnant, and the judge is basically like, this is circumstantial, like, y'all don't even have good evidence that it's her. Okay, so he's gonna let her out on bond, but she's gonna be on house arrest, and she gotta stay in the house. She got an ankle monitor, all that good shit, right? So Perm, Yusuf have an apartment up in the hills, not apartment, a house up in the hills, waiting for her. So she goes there, yada yada yada. Yusuf decides to text her because he's not talking. Text her, basically tell her, I want to go to the mall and feel normal. Nigga, you was in California, and we are all in fucking danger. You just came back for some shit. Hello, but she's like, you know what? Fuck it. Now, roll it on back. The daddy, right, Rashid, in the first book, he's the one who stole Yusuf and caused the trauma to Yusuf, right? Rashid is now in the hospital. He's dying from cancer. I'm sorry if you could hear that. As soon as I start talking, motherfuckers want to start walking around. Prime goes to Yusuf and asks him, is it you who called the cops? And Rashid was like, nah, I wouldn't do that shit because I don't fuck with the police, but you should look very closely to those around you, right? So boom, he starts thinking, all right, who could it be? He's like, it could be his mama, or it could have been somebody else, but he's like, damn, it couldn't have been his mama. His mama's name is Vivica. It couldn't have been her because, whatever, but it could have been her because she's a hating ass bitch. Also, she really doesn't like Zainab because Zainab in the second book slapped the shit out of her. Okay, she slapped the shit out of her. She slapped the shit out of Farrah at the gala. Long fucking story short, Farrah was there. Now Farrah is looking a hot mess, right? Because remember, she got her ear cut off and she was essayed by Thad. Thad is Prime's cousin. Prime does not know that Thad has done that, right? So she's going through it. And she goes to, after Prime leaves, she goes to her father, like, we need to get shit going. And the father's like, chill. Your brother Kasim, he's almost home. Kasim is his older son who is in Panama prison, who's about to get out. So he thinks. So Prime is pissed. He's like, oh, y'all fucking with him. So he gets Kasim, whatever the fuck, offed in Panama, right? Word gets back to Rashid that Kasim is offed, right? Now, Rashid was waiting for Kasim to come back to take over the whole business and also to off Prime, but that wasn't going to happen. Prime already called his bluff. He already told him in the second book that he knew everything about everybody. He knew his aunts, his uncles, like he knew all his family members. So why the fuck he thought that Prime was going to let that nigga walk? But that's neither here nor there. So now Rashid is going through it. He's really upset. His son done died. You know, he ain't had nobody left but his damn daughter, and he thought she couldn't do shit, right? So he dies of heartbreak. And you know, Farrah was like, I'm gonna handle everything, right? So Farrah calls Vivica, right? And Vivica was the one who had someone basically call the cops to run down on Zainab, right? So Vivica's like, okay, go to California because that's where they at. Just watch every movement that they do, and then I'm gonna let you know what's going on, right? So boom, she goes to California. But she goes to California. So we going back to Zainab. Zainab tells Prime when she's in jail that she thinks it was Vivica, right? Because Vivica was smirking when she went to jail. She was in the back and she was smirking when the cops ran down on her, right? So Prime already peeped it. And I think Mahara is Zainab's sister. So I think Mahara also peeped it. So Prime was like, I bet, let me do some research. He calls his older brother Quest. For some reason, the mom mentions it. Vivica mentions why she doesn't like Prime. Prime looks exactly like her husband, who was cheating on her their whole entire marriage. But the marriage was really just a business deal. But she was also cheating. She had a full-blown relationship with Rashid. And Rashid is Quest's actual father, okay, biological father. She tells him that before he dies because she goes and visit him, and she tells him that Quest is actually his, and to protect Quest and Justice, who is the youngest brother, and if he's gonna off Prime, he go off Prime. She don't care. And the reason why she ain't care for Prime because he looked exactly like his daddy, and for some reason she was hating on the father. For what? Because you was doing the same shit. But that's neither here nor motherfucking thing. Or he also had an outside child and embarrassed her, so that's why. Anyways, so he calls Quest. Prime calls Quest and be like, do your research, right? Quest comes back to him to tell him, okay, it was actually India. India is Vivica's assistant. Okay, India was Vivica's assistant, and they were also hunching, period, right? So he said, I bet I'm finna do some shit. All right, they went to find India and basically told India, listen, you gonna either fake your death or you gonna really die. You gonna fake your death, and we gonna push it on my mother, and then and then you need to leave the country. We're going to give you, like, I think they said they're going to give her like $1 million or some shit, $250,000, some shit. But she had to get the fuck on, right? So she decided she was going to get the fuck on. And she decided to go with whatever plan that they had, right? Vivica ends up getting arrested for the murder of India, who was not even murdered. And they said they couldn't find a body. And for bribery and other shit that they found in her financials and things like that. Now, if you got skeletons in your closet, why the fuck is you going after that man? And you know he don't play. He don't even fucking like you, Vivica. So please. So now she's in jail. Farrah is in California. She hears about Vivica now in jail. She's like, fuck, it's just me now. Okay? She done watched Zainab and Yusuf, right? However, Prime already peeped that hoe. Prime already peeped her. Right? So Farrah follows Yusuf to the mall. Remember, he said he wanted to go to the mall for what fucking reason? She follows him. She takes pictures of him. She sends it to Zainab and tells Zainab to come to whatever hotel. Zainab, being stupid as fuck, decides to leave. Even though she's on house arrest, she leaves her house to go find Yusuf because he already was kidnapped and tortured and stuff like that. So she wasn't really thinking. She had called Prime, she called Quest, she called Mahara. Nobody was answering their phones for I don't even know why, right? They should always, especially Prime, you have a pregnant. Okay, let's move on. The cops end up running down on her. She's now back in prison with Lala, her cellmate. Now the COs, nasty work. The COs are nasty, right? So she's on the phone with Mahara. Remember I told you about Thad? Well, during the bakery opening, Zainab had saw Thad and was like, oh my God, that's the motherfucker who killed my sister. But she didn't tell anybody, okay? When she met Celeste, she told Celeste that she found her sister, she took her ID, she thought that the people that was still looking for her and Yusuf, so she bounced, right? She didn't tell Celeste that she actually saw Thad murdering somebody out back from her illegal job that she shouldn't have been working in. And he followed her back to wherever the fuck and offed her sister because she saw something, right? So anyways, Mahara's on the phone telling her she met a new nigga, okay? Then she tells her the new nigga she met was Thad. Now, Thad had spotted her out immediately, okay? He knew that Mahara was holding down Zainab's business, so he came to the bakery acting like he wanted something, but he came looking for Mahara. And I think the whole reason was he wanted to do something to Mahara to get back at Zainab or get to Zainab. And Mahara, trying to act like she big and bad, but she really wasn't, was falling for the bullshit. She didn't see it, okay? At first she was acting like she saw it, and then she didn't. He ran some stupid shit on her, and yeah, I had to keep scrolling past her chapters because girl, what? And then in his chapters, he has a whole baby mama that he said he could see his life with, and he didn't see his life with Mahara. He really couldn't fucking stand her. All he had to say was I love you and give her some dick, and she fell hard for him. Crazy work. But you can't fucking blame her because she ain't getting no love from anybody else. So a little bit I love you and a little bit of dick, good dick, she was hooked. Okay. So Mahara's telling Zainab, oh, his name's Thad. She goes, Thad? She ends up going into labor. Apparently, to Quest, she was in labor in the cell for 7 hours. One of the COs had called for the medics, right? But he put that it wasn't an emergency, so they took a very long time to come and get her. He lied and said that they was stuck doing something like in traffic and they couldn't come, but really he put that it wasn't an emergency. She ends up having 2 babies, a boy and a girl. They thought it was just a girl, it was a boy too. She ended up having twins in the cell. She also ended up almost bleeding out, but the medics came in just in time, took her to the hospital, blah blah blah. She meets Celeste, and she tells Celeste basically the real world, that it was the real that it was Thad, and Thad is the one who offed Zahara, and Thad is also with Zahara and Mahara. Is it Mahara? Hold on. Mahar. Her name is Mahar. Okay. Mahar Thad is with Mahar. He's right. So she's like, tell Prime this, but tell him not to off Thad because I want to do it, right? So Celeste goes down, tells Prime everything. He's like, Thad, that's crazy work. He then also, I forgot to tell y'all this. After Zainab gets arrested, Prime goes and gets Farah, right? And Farah didn't think that he knew about her being there, whatever, but he told her, listen, go about your business and I won't off you, or I'll off you. And she's like, I'm not leaving without you. So he said, you know what, sit right there, right? So she tells him, I hate you, you let your cousin do X, Y, and Z to me. And he's like, what are you talking about? And she's like, oh, you thought Thad was just sitting there? He SA'd me multiple times. So he's taken aback. He's like, okay, he's the one that offed Zahara. He's the one that's dating Mahar. And then he's out here hunching, SAing Farah. That's crazy. So he's like, I bet. He calls Justice and tell him, get Thad, right? Now Thad, at the same time, when all this is going on, when Zainab is in labor, and Mahara is going through it. He's fake rubbing her back. He is getting on his nerves, right? Justice called Thad and tell him, get your ass to this warehouse. We got some shit going on. So he tells Mahar, I bet I gotta go, right? Now he also has his girlfriend, his pregnant girlfriend, living in a 4-bedroom house. Okay. He ends up in the warehouse. Justice ends up tying his ass up, okay, waiting for Prime. Prime gets there and he basically tells him, like, I know what you're doing with Mahar, I know what you did to Zahara, and I know what you did for Farah, and I'm not with that shit. So Thad basically tells Prime, like, I'm sorry. He's like, nah, fuck that shit. You gotta be dealt with, right? So that tells Prime, like, I wasn't the one to actually like pull the trigger. It was some other nigga named Dex, I want to say. So Dex, he's like, I bet. He finds Dex in some prison already in there for some other shit. He tells Dex, tell your DA that you also killed this lady named Zahara. Do you remember Zahara? He remembers the house, what was in the house, the snake plant that was dying. He remembers the shirt that Zahara was wearing. Right. So Prime tells him, you killed the wrong sister, yada yada yada. Dex ends up telling ZA Zainab is off. Now she got out of the hospital after, they checked on her. She was out for 14 hours. They had to do blood transfusions. They allowed her to go back to the house with her kids. She is now let off because it wasn't her that killed her sister. Now it was identity theft, but it was for, she thought she was in danger. Okay. Mahar finds Thad. She ends up beating his ass to death. I guess Zainab didn't want anything to do with it, so she didn't have anything to do with it, or I fast forward past that part. Okay. Yusuf starts talking back in Cali. She's so happy. Everybody's so happy. They start crying. He starts talking. He loves his sister, not his sister, his aunt / mommy. Okay, boom. Quest finds the 2 COs that was overlooking Zainab in prison, that was manhandling her, talking crazy to her, and the reason why she ended up giving birth in the cell. He offs both of them. Calls Prime, tells him, I handled it. They were happy. Farah was then also, was she killed? No, I think he set her loose out the country. She not allowed to come back. They had Lala, who helped Zainab have the kids in the cell. She had 18 months left in prison, so they set up, I think, a $250 trust fund for her because they really appreciated her. Honestly, it should have been more, but hey, $1 million a baby, but hey, maybe they ain't got that much. They're back in DC. She's back to running her business. Mahar decides she wants to be a dominatrix. Fuck it, do your thing. Zainab ends up getting a spread in Essence because she now has spread to 23 states with Sweet Zen, and she's also in supermarkets. Then at the end of the book, she and Prime end up getting married, and Mahar and Quest have a little 1-2-1-2 during the Garter situation, and their story might be next. He said he ain't ever gonna get married or want children. I don't think Mahar want children either, so they're gonna have a little cute relationship. Mahar needs to go to therapy real bad because she was abused most of her life, and she needs to talk to somebody about that. Anyways, that was the end of Le Book. I would commend y'all to go watch it, go read it if you haven't, and if you had, comment down below. Okay, if I was the reason why you went and read these books, let me know. Let us just know. I need a little, affirmations, a little. Let me know something. Damn. Anyways, if you could like, comment, and subscribe, I'd appreciate it. Okay.